This episode of the Teen Writing Nook is brought to you by the new Project Itch, because why finish the book you're on when you could start 3 new ones today? Episode 3, Season 1. The Dopamine Trap. The Brain. This is the Teen Writing Nook. For teen writers, by a teen writer. Creativity, not consistency. Chaos, not perfection. I'm J.K. Williams, your host, and today I want to get honest about the hardest part of the ADHD writing brain. The shiny new idea syndrome and how to actually beat it. When a story is new, your brain is flooded with dopamine, but around chapter 10, the novelty wears off and suddenly the shiny new idea feels like a chore and your brain wants a divorce. Every writer with ADHD has been there, and it is no fun. How do I beat this? Well, I allow myself one side hustle story. I can write a page of a new idea only after I finish my main chapter. It's basically bribing my brain to stay focused. Now, this might not work for everyone, and it's not my favorite way to deal with it, but it's the way I use most often. Now, you're probably sitting here thinking, well, why don't you deal with the novelty wall in the way you like best? Well, that goes back to my process, my personal process. My favorite podcast, Writing Excuses, did an episode where the title was My Process is Not Your Process, and I loved that episode so much because it's true, not everyone should have the same process, not everyone does have the same process, right? So my process involves detailed outlining because I get stressed if I don't know where it's going, but I like to be able to change the direction at any single time. The outline is there as a fallback in case I'm not feeling creative, but I still want to work, in case I just don't know where I want to take the story. But my favorite part is that you can always revise the outline. Sure, it takes a while because when you outline the full book and then do a changing plot twist, you're going to have to re-outline the whole book again. And that works but doesn't work. So that is one of the reasons why I don't use my favorite way of big plot twists to make the book feel new again, to deal with the novelty wall. But I'm trying to work on that because I do not like the bribing. It's not a good work ethic. So what I'm trying to work on myself is making sure that I am able to re-outline. And one of the ways that I do that when I have to re-outline is I normally just re-outline it chapter by chapter and outline 3 chapters at a time so that I have 3 chapters, 3 to 5 days worth of writing outlined, and then the second to last day I will outline more. My challenge for you this week is to figure out what works for you in terms of outlining and when you come to the novelty wall. Now, those are 2 completely different things, but they go together, actually, when you think about it. If you're an outliner, the novelty wall is less of a challenge than if you're just a pantser. But if you're not an outliner, the novelty wall is like the end of the world. So I want to hear in the comments how you deal with the novelty wall and how you outline, or don't outline for that matter, your book. So one of the last ways to deal with the novelty wall is giving it some time, right? If nothing else is working, maybe it's best to actually just let the project sit for a while, go do anything but writing a new project, and a new idea will pop in your head, and that new idea will be motivation enough to sit down and write. This is my friendly reminder to you that if you're stuck in the middle of a draft, don't delete it. Your brain isn't broken, it's just bored. The novelty wall is a real thing for writers with ADHD, and it's a real success when you overcome it. Well, that just about wraps things up for this week's episode of the Teen Writing Nook. And I want you to remember that you are a writer, and your brain's not broken for craving novelty and stimulation all the time. It's just wired differently. And that does not make you any less of a writer than anyone else.